vehicle now is completely pressurized. We're coming up on a power transfer shortly. The engines are armed. T-minus 10 seconds and counting. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. We have liftoff.
How do you read, over?
Circuit pressure steady. Cabin pressure nominal.
Fuel cells amps, 45. Voltage, 28.
Oh my God! Look at that! Quick, get the camera. Good thing we've got color film.
Yeah, it's the only place with color.
The only place with life. Changes how you see everything, doesn't it?
We now know everywhere.
Everyone
is connected to everything. But as change accelerates,
complexity increases.
And threats grow.
the world needs to better understand how we are connected.
If we're to sustain life as we know it.
We in the GIS community can do this.
Because sustainability
begins with geography.
We can show how what happens there
impacts what's here.
How the systems that shape our lives
weave together
as one living,
evolving
organism. Whether we know it or not.
chose it or not.
As we map,
model,
And share our work.
and as we use remote sensing
and AI.
We are seeing the world in a whole new way.
that will shape its evolution.
Together,
We are growing a living,
dynamic,
Intelligent,
Collaborative GIS.
an emerging digital twin of the planet
We are shaping
a common language
that empowers everyone.
to break down silos,
come together.
to make things better,
And decide what's next.
Whether our work is to manage,
plan,
Design,
build,
help,
heal.
nurture.
We can do anything
Anywhere.
because we have the power to integrate everything.
everywhere.
Imagine what we can do together.
Hello and welcome. My name is Adam Fox, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to your Esri Canada National User Conference. As we begin, I'd like to introduce Kelsey Davis, Esri Canada's Program Manager, Indigenous Communities.
Wow, what an amazing room full of people. Well, welcome and thank you, everyone. Thank you very much for making the journey here. I'm going to kick us off in a meaningful way with a land acknowledgement. Before I do that, I want to share a little story about this place where we're all gathering. Conducting land acknowledgements is a great opportunity to learn about the Indigenous history of places across and throughout Canada. Not surprisingly, there's often a deep Indigenous connection and meaningful stories to be discovered, which brings me to today's story. Takaronto is the original place name from which Toronto is derived. It's a Mohawk word meaning the place of submerged trees, or a place of abundance and plenty in Wendat, and meeting place, as many others called it. The oldest known use of the place name Takaronto refers to the current-day Atherley Narrows in the channel between Lake Simcoe and Lake Couchiching, just a little bit north of present-day Toronto. For thousands of years, this was an important gathering place for many nations where people met, traded, and replenished their food supplies. This was a location where weirs were constructed using wooden stakes carved from trees to fence in and harvest the fish that naturally congregated in the shallow waters there, giving rise, of course, to the place name Takaronto. Remnants of the fish weirs still exist today at the Mujigani historic site depicted here. Parks Canada has carbon-dated stakes as far back as 3300 BC. So just stop and think about that for a moment. That's over 5,000 years before present day. And this is the same time frame as when the Great Pyramids in Egypt were being built. Today, the Chippewa-Zarama First Nation, in partnership with Parks Canada, are the stewards of this historical site that has given us the current name of Canada's largest city. So how do we go from Takaronto to the place name Toronto? Over time, the name Takaronto was adopted by European settlers for many places moving southward along a major travel and portage route that had been used for millennia. It was known as the Carrying Place Trail and was the primary travel route that connected Lake Ontario to the northern Great Lakes, mostly following the Humber River Valley. Once Yonge Street was constructed in 1796, it became the preferred route, and the Carrying Place Trail was largely abandoned. Today, though, 150 old-growth oak trees still exist, also known as the Tubinanike Ancient Grove, and they're named after the daughter of Chief Wabanus of the Mississaugas from the late 1700s. These still stand along what was the Carrying Place Trail route as remnants of this historical key transportation corridor. As colonization progressed over the last few hundred years, European settlers began to alter the spelling of Takaronto and applied the name to Fort York and the surrounding areas near the mouth of the Humber River on Lake Ontario, with the official name and spelling of Toronto adopted in 1834. Now, I have noticed that the place name Toronto is possibly changing and evolving yet again. And if you're wondering who the true Torontonians are at the conference this week, well, they should be easily identifiable as those who have now dropped the second T in Toronto and just pronounce it as Toronto. So keep an eye out for that. Suffice to say, the lands and waters around Lake Ontario have always been known as a plentiful source of food and resources. Since time immemorial, it's been a place where people have come together, much as we are here over the next few days. I hope you enjoyed that little bit of history and Indigenous context for where we're all meeting here today. With that, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathering on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and recognize this land as also being the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat and Haudenosaunee peoples. In the spirit of truth, healing, and reconciliation, Esri Canada wishes to honor and pay respect to their past, present, and future stories, culture, community, and to their continued stewardship of these ancestral lands and waters. We are grateful for the opportunity to work, learn, and build community on this land, and we commit ourselves to ongoing reconciliation and respectful partnership with Indigenous peoples. Thank you. I hope you have a great conference, everyone.
Thank you, Kelsey. And welcome, and may I say welcome back. It's been many years since we've been here at the Toronto User Conference, but it is now truly a national event. When you look around the room, it's inspiring to see so many familiar faces and so many new faces. You've traveled here from coast to northern coast to form the largest gathering of GIS professionals in the country. Our purpose, starting right, there you go. Our purpose over the next 2 busy days is to create new relationships, to learn about new technologies, and to hear from our users across the country, and to have a little fun. There are over 1,600 Esri users, partners, students, and staff here. You come from different backgrounds, different disciplines, and have different interests, but we are all part of a very uniquely Canadian group of GIS professionals. As a truly national user conference, as I said, we have GIS professionals who've flown from all reaches of the country to join us today. Keeping with Canadian content, we are proud to say that there are attendees from every single stretch of our great country, every province and every territory together here in the same room. Not only do we have our users here who are doing amazing things with Esri technology, so are our partners. A big thank you to our gold, silver, and our reception sponsors. We have over 20 exhibitors in the exhibition hall. Please make sure you plan to spend time with them in the booths, at the breaks, and during the social. Everyone, please, a loud roar of applause for our sponsors and our exhibitors. The work you do is important. Every day we get to see the amazing applications that are touching every part of our lives, helping solve some of the biggest challenges our world has seen. Climate change, economic uncertainty, public safety, disaster recovery, housing. I get the privilege to showcase just a few of the amazing applications that are addressing these challenges. And remember, as part of our truly national UC, all of the organizations you will see on stage here today are in the audience and sitting right next to you. Amazing to have such excellent examples from coast to coast to coast. Your work helps your community and your country through conservation planning. Here we have examples of the Cree Nation government and their protected areas application on Indigenous lands. We also see examples from Ontario Parks and their conservation reserves application on their Parks Finder app. Your work keeps communities healthy. Here we see an example of the multi-respiratory activity dashboard from the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador. This live dashboard tracks everything from influenza activity, hospitalizations, infection rates, and vaccine clinic locations. This is part of the province's Time for the Shot campaign. And in Toronto, here in Ontario, they built an internal dashboard to help analyze their residential walkability gaps for residents who live further than 500 meters or a 5 to 10 minute walk to city-owned parks. Your work helps develop strong communities. The City of Sarnia in Ontario tracks their residential development in an ArcGIS dashboard directly connected to their permitting and approval system in Trimble CityWorks. And in Alberta, the City of Grand Prairie is not only using technology to bring employment and development into their community, but also as a source of transparency to their constituents by providing their annual budgets using ArcGIS. Your work is revitalizing your downtown core. Here's a beautiful example of the City of Calgary in Alberta. As part of Calgary's downtown strategy, they are focusing on responding to economic challenges, capitalizing on opportunities to create jobs, drive economic recovery, and transform their downtown using instant apps and 3D technology in the browser. Your work helps fight climate change in your community. In the City of Kitchener here in Ontario, they're using ArcGIS to study and reduce heat islands in their community. This work helps guide tree planting operations, and they've developed a tree equity score to assess tree cover distribution across their neighborhoods. And on the West Coast, the City of Vancouver is using GIS to assess major hazards and risks, including earthquakes, extreme heat, wildfire smoke, and coastal flooding. As you can see from the map, wonderful Granville Island is underwater based on some of the analysis in their dashboard. keeping with climate action, we're seeing more and more municipalities and provincial governments act on climate change together. The Halifax Climate Hub was launched just last month by the Halifax Regional Municipality in Nova Scotia. A wonderful quote from their ArcGIS hub says that Halifax is one of the most ambitious climate action movements in Canada. This is their community response to the climate crisis that will help build a more resilient and healthy future in Atlantic Canada. Very impactful. Your work is being used in innovative ways on campuses. Our universities and colleges across the country use Esri to teach students and to bring up the GIS professionals of the future. But we're seeing more and more innovative uses of technology for campuses and campus mapping here at the University of Saskatchewan, or in digital wayfinding at my alma mater, McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. Campuses are embracing digital transformation projects as they treat campuses like the small cities that they are. And your work is powering our communities. Whether you are Hydro-Quebec, or Toronto Hydro, or Manitoba Hydro, your work is providing information to their customers about outages and upcoming service disruptions, streetlight issues around the city, or providing interactive dashboards to show the status of subdivision and easement plans. You are helping maintain reliable power across our country. But now we're going to shift to an inspiring video on some of the great work that one of our key enterprise users are doing.
When Canadian Tire first opened its doors, we knew our purpose. But we sought after our potential. And as your backyards got bigger and your neighborhoods branched further out, your lifestyles demanded more. And we were there. This nation was growing, and we grew together. We turned a single garage into a household name. We've seen 100 years of birthdays and graduations, afternoon barbecues and week-long road trips. We live in your city, in your forests, in your backyard, and in your home. We were there when the lights went up, and we'll be there when the lights go out. We're there when the snow falls and when temperatures rise again. To cut first keys and sharpen new skates. To play for something bigger than ourselves. Because with 1,700 locations nationwide, we're always close by, for whatever you may need.
Please welcome from Canadian Tire, Thomas and Taylor, to show us how Canadian Tire are making life in Canada better.
Canadian Tire has been a part of Canada for over 100 years. With more than 500 locations, Canadian Tire dealers are there to support their local communities in all corners of the country. Over the years, this network has grown with the inclusion of other banners such as SportCheck, Marks, Party City, and PHL, truly allowing Canadian Tire to be there to support life in Canada. As Canadian Tire has evolved, our GIS capabilities have had to keep up. Historically, GIS was anchored within our real estate department, helping to inform store investment decisions throughout the country. This was done with a small group of GIS power users working on a local desktop implementation. It was fantastic for what the team needed to do at the time, but really limited the ability to scale beyond real estate. We knew something had to change if we truly wanted to unlock the value of GIS at Canadian Tire. This led to a significant upgrade as we migrated to a cloud-based ArcGIS Enterprise implementation that completely changed how the team worked day to day and how they were able to serve up GIS insights throughout the organization. Today, Taylor's going to walk you through 3 examples where the team has gone well outside of real estate, starting with our ever-expanding EV charging network before jumping over to our Jumpstart charities and finishing off with a look at GIS for environmental risk.
As part of our commitments to ESG goals, Canadian Tire Corporation has been building out an electric vehicle charging infrastructure, installing charging stations at our Canadian Tire retail and gas bar sites across Canada and select en route sites in Ontario. Our involvement began with a simple question. Could somebody travel from coast to coast using only the charging stations at our sites? To explore this, we used the Network Analyst extension and Street Map Premium Road Network dataset in ArcGIS Pro, along with neighborhood-level EV ownership data to run multiple network optimization scenarios. These analyses allow our business partners to pursue opportunities knowing whether a potential site will help increase our coverage or help strengthen an existing market. And as a result, Canadian Tire has created a network that, based on a 50-kilometer drive distance radius, can reach 92% of the EV population in Canada. And we're getting pretty close on that coast-to-coast travel. Also, as part of an initiative to promote Canadian Tire as a destination for EV parts and accessories, we were asked to create an EV charger locator for the canadiantire.ca website. Using ArcGIS Instant Apps, we were able to quickly deploy a user-friendly, interactive map with the embeddable code provided by the application. Now, customers can come to our website and enter an address or a place, let's do the Toronto Congress Centre, for example, and see what options are available around them. Clicking on a flag will provide important information such as the address of the charger, the brand and the partner of that charger, and how many charging ports it has, broken out by DC fast versus level 2. So for any EV drivers in attendance today who maybe need a little bit of a boost to get home, we hope you'll consider using one of the charging stations at our stores nearby. This year marks the 20th anniversary of Canadian Tire Jumpstart Charities, our charity dedicated to helping kids overcome financial and accessibility barriers to sport and recreation. Through fundraising and disbursements, Jumpstart has helped over 4 million kids get access to inclusive play opportunities across Canada. Over the years, our team has proudly volunteered our GIS expertise to support Jumpstart's mission. We've helped them visualize their chapter boundaries, ensured applicants were assigned to the appropriate chapters for funding, and provided demographic insights to help the team better understand the communities they support. To enhance internal reporting, we developed the Jumpstart Chapter Explorer using ArcGIS dashboards. This tool provides easy access to key data such as year-over-year funds raised and distributed, as well as the number of kids helped, an estimation of the number of kids in need summarized by chapter and provided as a neighborhood-level map overlay, and other commonly requested data points such as demographics and lists of CTC stores and Jumpstart playgrounds across Canada. Historically, our team would provide a lot of this information on an ad hoc basis, and off the side of our desk. Now, with this dashboard, we've put actionable insights into the hands of the Jumpstart team at any time. It enables more informed conversations internally and with our CT dealer network around opportunities for community engagement and resource deployment. For an example, in this chapter, we can see that year over year, they consistently over-index fundraising on a per capita basis, and that the number of kids they've been able to help is roughly in line with the amount of need we estimate to be in the community. In another chapter, however, we can see that despite a positive trend in the total funds raised, they're still well below that national average, and as a result, the proportion of kids they're able to help is much lower. With this information, the team can now engage relevant stakeholders to find opportunities to improve community outreach in these areas. With ArcGIS dashboards, the Jumpstart Chapter Explorer has been able to turn geospatial data into action, helping drive meaningful support for kids in communities that need it the most. At the end of May this year, an out-of-control wildfire prompted the full evacuation of Flin Flon, Manitoba, and the temporary closure of our Canadian Tire retail store, located just 6 kilometers southeast of the fire's reported origin. It would be a full month before that evacuation order would be lifted, and we in the community could return home. It's not the first time CTC has had to contend with the impacts of wildfires, and unfortunately, it won't be the last. And the ability to make decisions quickly to protect our employees, assets, and support our communities from the impacts of environmental risks is more important than ever. CTC's enterprise risk team actively monitors emerging threats and notifies stores about events unfolding in their regions. Historically, however, identifying which stores to notify has been a manual and time-consuming process, which becomes especially challenging during peak wildfire season. To help address this challenge, we developed the Active Wildfires Explorer, also using ArcGIS dashboards, that integrates the live Active Fires in Canada feature service, available through Esri's Living Atlas, and arcade data expressions to dynamically identify which of our stores are within 100 kilometers of an active fire. The advanced formatting options in the table widget allow us to highlight stores of particular concern, such as those within 25 kilometers of an out-of-control fire. By centralizing wildfire intelligence with this dashboard, we've empowered teams like enterprise risk and real estate, and even our merchandising teams, to act faster, smarter, and more collaboratively to protect our people, properties, and our communities. Thank you.
So as you've just seen, the team's been incredibly busy building out this Explorer series of dashboards. It's been a great way to build momentum internally and raise awareness of just what's possible with our new GIS system. We've even gone as far as working with non-GIS analytics groups to embed these insights directly within Power BI applications, allowing them to gain the benefits without significantly changing their existing processes. Earlier this year, we also launched our Triangle Atlas, a centralized hub for all things GIS at Canadian Tire. It includes everything from geospatial data sources to an inventory of existing dashboards, as well as resources targeted at non-GIS users to help them better understand just what might be possible in their worlds. As of today, we have over 300 active users, and that number continues to grow every month. So now, GIS at Canadian Tire is no longer siloed and inaccessible. It's being integrated into decision-making all over the organization. Wherever you are on your GIS journey, I'd encourage you to look beyond your current problems and think bigger, because once you have your foundations in place, you'll start to see opportunities to integrate GIS in everything, everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you, Thomas. What an incredible story on how Canadian Tire is using GIS in very innovative ways. An inspiring story to take us into our next chapter. I'd like to end with a challenge for every single person in this room. We come from many geographies, many different industries. Some of you are at the beginning of your career, some of you are very experienced. We have close to 1,600 of you all in one place, and we challenge you to connect with new people, sit with different people at lunch, meet someone new over a coffee or a beverage at the social tonight. Ask them what they're working on. Tell them stories about what excites you in GIS, in your journey, and find common ground to get inspired by others.